In class, we've discussed how American history was nothing but a series of dramatic accidents, like when the British defeated the Spanish Armada because of the behavior of the wind. Was that one big accident, or was the whole history of America predestined? The topic of predestination can be complicated. If you wanted to rationalize it, it would sort of be like a math or science problem. First, you have to prove idea A, then based on idea A, you prove idea B, and so on. The exact definition of predestination is the belief that God has foreordained every event throughout eternity. When looking at an event in American history, let's call it Event Z, you couldn't simply just ask, why did Event Z happen? You'd have to explain why Event Y happened, and then Event X, and so on, all the way back to A. One thing always leads to another, but is the next thing in a series of events the result of an accident? Looking at this in terms of American history, an event like the European explorers stumbling upon the Americas in 1492 was inevitable. Christopher Columbus was meant to go searching for gold. He was looking for Asia, but he was meant to wind up finding the New World. It was all part of the plan. Well, I was looking online at more things that were sort of like when the British defeated the Spanish Armada due to winds. I wanted to find out if there were more times in history that weather and nature have affected the course of history and the way events have turned out. And I found something really interesting. I think, in 1504, Christopher Columbus was stranded on Jamaica, or on the island of Jamaica, by more than half of his crew, and the islanders refused to give him food. And so since Christopher Columbus, he used his almanac and he liked the stars to navigate himself through the ocean, he knew that a lunar eclipse was happening soon, so he told the islanders that if they did not give him food, that his god would be mad at them, and that the sky would turn red and the moon would turn red, and they didn't believe him, but he knew that the lunar eclipse was coming. So when that happened, they all got really scared because they believed that Christopher Columbus's god was going to punish them. So that's just another example of how weather and nature have sort of changed the course of history, because what if they had never given him food? And what if he had died? Everything would be different. In our textbook, when they're talking about a series of dramatic accidents, about how that was the building of our nation, they talk about things that did happen. But I was thinking about things that could have happened. Like in World War II, it took one crazy and highly influential person to cause the Holocaust. Now, what if during the founding of Jamestown, there was one person like that who had these crazy radical ideas, and they were influential enough to change the whole way that America works? Something in our text that I really liked, and it made a lot of sense to me, was that history is not made up of big events, but it's made up of a lot of small events. And so I was reading something online that was about 9/11, and it was talking about how the stories of individuals, how one person spilled coffee on their shirt on the way to work, so they had to go back and change, or someone stole their cab. And this is kind of like the cheesy quote, everything happens for a reason. I think things really do happen for a reason, because when we're looking at our text, we don't know the stories of individual lives, but all of these stories put together are what caused these big events that we do learn about.